back to quarantine with Dr. Addy. We were on Instagram. For some reason, Instagram decided that we couldn't continue the session. So we've moved over to Zoom. Thank goodness we have something on standby just in case. We like doing this on Instagram because it can reach more audience, but we also feel like, we have to do what we have to do. Again, what we're talking about today is how to draft a proposal. In the beginning of this discussion today, Professor Charles talked to us about the 3 steps that you have to logically consider when you're trying to maybe get a scholarship for a PhD position. He had 3 assumptions. His assumptions include that you are coming here to start a PhD, or you're seeking a PhD scholarship. One of the assumptions is also focusing on the fact that you're a scholar where you're coming from, so you have some good understanding of things that relates to research and stuff like that. I forgot the 3rd assumption, but there are 3 assumptions that he's going to be using. And as we mentioned previously, it's okay if you are applying for masters. That means you actually will have a stronger application because you will have an understanding of even how to apply for a PhD position. So you'll do better in your master's application. It's also okay if you are currently not a researcher where you are, maybe you're working full-time, or maybe you actually have just graduated from a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. You have to, so we talked a bit about how understanding your specialty. You need to know who you are. We talked about understanding what's my specialty. I've gotten this degree. Nigeria didn't prepare you well. How can you make sure that you still prepare yourself by looking at your transcript, look out there, do market research to understand what is the value of your degree, so you can really know what your specialty is. If you already know what your specialty is, I talked about how we are far apart when we talk about the West and Africa, and that Africa, when it comes to innovation, we're still miles apart and behind. So you need to really think about, okay, as a person who is coming abroad for a master's or a PhD, am I on par with technology today? Am I on par with everybody else doing research in this area? We need to do that research to know whether you are on par or you are behind. If you are behind, you need to catch up with the rest of the world. You don't want to be proposing a research that has been done 5 years ago, 10 years ago, just because in your case, maybe you're just getting to it now because of where you live. So there is no excuse of, I'm coming from Africa, that is why I'm not on par with everybody. You have to do that research to make sure that what you're proposing in your research is on par. So it's really competitive enough. It's research of today, and it's not a research of yesterday. That is probably what is still being done where you are at the moment. Well, I think that is where we stopped. If you don't know, Dr. Charles is as a professor at University of Nebraska, Lincoln. That is why he's the right person to talk about these topics with us. He's a professor himself. He understands what professors want to see in the research proposal. He understands how you should draft your email to catch the attention of professors. That is the one, that's the reason why he's the one who is supposed to tell us how to do it properly. So without further ado, Dr. Charles, you can continue.
So we were just talking about you forming a specialization and try to fill a gap. So as a master's applicant, you are the gap filler. You are looking at that specialization. Let me just go there so you see what I'm talking about. So you are looking at that specialization. This is the specialization. This is the boundary of knowledge. If that knowledge has no boundaries, or even if it is at the boundary, you are playing. That's where you're doing your own research. That's where you want to formulate your proposal. I talk about interfacing with other research. Let's say there is another body of knowledge spiking out here. Maybe that body of knowledge is mathematical modeling or AI. You can interface and bring that to your own and do a research. So when you're doing such comparison, such intersection of research, you are looking at a software has been developed. You are looking, how can we optimize this software? So you're writing a new code to optimize and further improve the prediction of the model. Sorry, I'm talking a lot of science because I'm coming from science background. But these things can also also apply in art, in communication, whereby you're looking. People are currently at the internet, digital age, but you're doing research as a master's student. You're not really going to the boundary, but you are shifting the specialization to the boundary as quick as possible. If it is at the boundary, then you are looking for gaps. Do we have gaps? Do we have gaps within this spike? So you are looking into the advisor's research. You are looking for gaps. Maybe there are something, or there is a thing the man is not even talking about. Maybe it's in the method. Maybe it's in the techniques or the equipment he used. You might suggest a new proposal by suggesting a new equipment. So do you get the idea?
We have somebody drawing when, oh God.
So many words.
Somebody is drawing.
I'm the one.
Okay.
I'm the one drawing those things.
All right.
Like I'm using my pen. I'm the one. So what I'm saying is that as a master's, you are a gap filler. Look for gap in literature, in science, in art, in philosophy, in religion, in whatever your endeavor is. Look for gap and write a proposal on it. Let that gap be related to the person you are applying to. So if you are applying to a professor like me in University of Nebraska, you go into my research where I'm working on mathematical modeling, the intersection between mathematics and food system. You start studying me. You do the homework. Addy said about homework. You need to work hard. Hard working. You do the homework. Like, what is this guy talking about? Okay, he's using mathematics to predict about food. Can we use mathematics? Can we come up with a gap in that person's research and write your proposal to fill that gap? They will give you the admission. You will get a scholarship. And for PhD, you should be at the boundary. At this boundary, you should be there. If you are not there, you are not ready. So if you are a mechanical engineer and you've already specialized on internal combustion engine, or you already specialize in communication, maybe something in engineering, and you are not at that boundary when the world is currently talking about 5G, because you are coming from Nigeria and they said something about that, and you are talking about 2G or 3G, or you are talking about Lagos road congestion, traffic congestion. You are not there yet. That's not the proposal we are looking for from a PhD. Because the world has moved away from 3G, they are talking about 5G. So you should be in that area, the arena. That is where you will play as a PhD. You are playing in the boundary of communication network, 5G. So you need to make your proposal to identify a problem. Not really identify, I take that back. You need to make your proposal to actually develop a new knowledge, something we do not know. That is where you are. If you write a proposal on something that we do not know, I'm not saying you should write something we do not know and you go write that we do not know how to fly as a human being. Your knowledge must be relevant. What you want to do must be relevant to the society, to people. I will show you how to do this. I just want to differentiate from you writing a proposal as a master's applicant and you writing a proposal as a knowledge curator. So PhD, you are a knowledge curator. Masters, you are a gap filler. That's the way it should be. I advise people in my group, if you are coming for masters, you are filling gaps. You are comparing things. In PhD, you are at the boundary. If you are not at the boundary, spend every day, start reading researches, read textbooks, read research, papers, publish paper, read latest public paper, get yourself to the current junction in your field. That is where you will write your proposal. Do you want to jump in or should I continue?
I think you're okay. If there's anything I want to add here is that I want to use my own example when I was, when I got in for PhD. So as Professor Charles said previously, right now there is a lot of interdisciplinary work ongoing. your professor could be focusing, or the professor you're interested in could be focusing on one area. You can make it a little more interdisciplinary by introducing a little bit of a different element. So in my case, I have a background in physics, and I went into, I went into the interface between physics and human bodies, right? And so you need to think about, if you're at a point where you feel like there's so much work that has been done, like you gave an example of 5G. 5G, there's a lot of work that's been done, but there's still a lot that can be done. Maybe there is an interface between 5G and another field that you can be the person who kind of find that relationship. So you can kind of think through this as, if there are no more opportunities, maybe this has been researched. 5G is new, so there's still plenty of research to be done. But let's say you are focusing on a field that has been researched for the last 50 years. So it's very hard to find new areas, new innovation in this field right now. My suggestion is, think about how do you introduce an element from another area into it. I think another thing that really helped me is, when I was writing my research proposal, I looked at what my professor has done, all the different things he's very familiar with, and I was proposing how to do his work using another method.
Good.
And when I propose using another method, I actually have some proof that I have used that method. So I put, as part of that proposal, an example. I just put a link where you can click and look at the proposed method in a small format, right? So my suggestion to you is, first do that research. No, is my research at the peak, right? Like if you're trying to do some research right now, maybe it's been done for 50 years, it could already be saturated. How do you want to stand out? So this interdisciplinary method is a way to stand out. There is always another way to do something. One size does not fit all. As we know, especially for scientists, there are multiple ways to solve a problem. What are you bringing to the table as a method to solve the problem that professor doesn't know, but is innovative, is exciting, and you think is not outside of his work? Because that's another mistake I've seen people make. They completely go outside because you're trying to wow somebody. If what you're proposing does not support his work, he's going to say no to that proposal because he won't be able to support it. So make sure you properly connect what you're proposing, if it's like a little out, to his work, and show him, what kind of benefit, is out there. And I think it would be exciting to kind of let you in to come and try that. One thing I want to say is, a PhD is a venue to do something creatively new. Don't do a PhD and end up with existing thing that has been done. You create a novel solution. You don't graduate from a PhD with a generic research. Your research must be novel. So you need to think through what you're trying to propose. Is this done already? It has to be novel. You can't, it's something that has to, yes, you have to build on the body of knowledge. The first place to start from is know the body of knowledge. All the things that people have done, you need to kind of consume it like food and have a good understanding of the body of knowledge. That is when you can now think about what else can be done. If you are still struggling with knowing the body of knowledge, then it's going to be hard. I know you are listening and wondering, oh my God, that's a lot of work. That is too much.
It's actually a lot of work.
That is too much. I know it's a lot of work, but people have done it. People have done it. We read novels, we read books, we read all these things. You can read other papers. It's not a lot to read. And I feel like it's, one of the things I always tell people is the ability to do systematic review is very critical when you're trying to be a researcher. Systematic review with certain keywords in your field. So you don't want to read everything under the sun, but what you're trying to propose, maybe there are 2 to 3 keywords or 5 keywords that you have identified. Narrow down papers focusing on that keywords and read them. When you're reading those papers, you will understand what the research is, and you will understand what has been done, because every paper has background, introduction, where they kind of say what has been done. You may not need to read everything under the sun. You may kind of jump a step there by reading what those papers said. This is the background. This is what has been done. That gives you an understanding. And then this is what the new areas have. So you need to identify those keywords, to be able to at least give yourself an understanding of what the body of knowledge is. And now you want to build on it. You want to do something innovative. You are here, you're trying to apply for a master's degree, and you are thinking, Dr. B, I don't want to go that far. The further you go, the more exciting you'll be as a candidate. If you're trying to apply for a master's degree and you blow the roof with a proposal that is PhD worthy, that is when you see that professor saying, how about you do a PhD instead? How about a 5-year package where you just do the master's and PhD together? Because they have seen the value in what you bring to the table. Or they say, okay, you start with a master's and you can cross over to a PhD in year 2. Because what you bring to the table is phenomenal. It's better than what a normal master's student bring to the table. So challenge yourself by going a step further so that you have an opportunity that other master's students don't have and stand out completely because you have done way more than every other master's student.
Every other people. Yeah, that's it. That's a very good one, Addy. Like what Addy said, it's also kind of, I can relate to it because during my PhD, I did not actually, I did a new thing, but I did not, I created a new knowledge, but I did that by interfacing, like collaborating, taking one research here, mathematics and food system. So a PhD, you can as well play around on that specialization. You don't need to go at the boundary and then expand the boundary. No. You can look for novel thing you can do. Currently, like I said, remember when we started, I said you should picture it that I work at the interface of mathematical modeling and food science. It's because it is very difficult to advance knowledge, to advance boundary. So most times, professors, we also play at this area. We play here. We do a lot of play. We do a lot of our science at that region. But if you want to be different as a PhD, you are looking on how to develop a entire new approach to things. And I will get to it. I'm just going to go to my last slide on this man. What? So PhD proposal for masters should be in this region, the red one. However, PhD proposal should be in that black region. If you want to, but you can't say because it's not been done, that's why I'm writing proposal on it. No, this is the key word. This is the key word. It has to be relevant to us. Just because I watched a documentary of a guy trying to develop a kind of machine or equipment that can help people to fly, do we actually need that? So your research has to be novel, yes. Proposal has to be novel, yes, but it has to be relevant. You can't go and start talking about what is happening in Nigeria. Yeah, that's fine. You can talk about something happening in Nigeria about agriculture, but is it relevant to the world? Maybe food system security is relevant to the world because if we can get to being food secured in Africa, maybe we won't rely more on developed nations. So come up with something very powerful.
If I can add something, Professor.
Yeah, please. I have to go to the...
So this is one thing I want to add here. Sometimes, because we're very passionate about Africa, we're very passionate about Nigeria. When we write our proposal, we are looking at solving African problems. I want to add that we have to be careful there. Not when a professor has a funding, that funding is usually given by a country or a research body or a foundation. Usually the agenda of those places is to drive forward the economy of the country where that school is located in. In some cases, they could be working with partnerships with partners in Africa and stuff like that, where they are looking at developing countries. If that person's work is not focused on developing countries, please do not propose that you want to do your project in Africa. Do not propose solutions that are focusing on Africa because they didn't get their funding to help solve African problems. Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
So they didn't get their funding to help solve African problem. Their funding is to help solve the problem of where they are located. So we need to tread carefully there. I understand that you want to solve Africa problem, but believe me, if you help solve Canadian problem or American problem, I can guarantee you that that concept is applicable back home because they need it. Or they will need it 3 years. You
Oh,
may
yeah.
be 7
Oh,
years
yeah.
ahead of Africa, and Africa may need it 7 years later.
Yeah.
And you will be one of the pioneers. You will be one of the relevant people in that area. So my suggestion would be, make sure that you're not trying to tailor all your thinking, everything in your proposal to
African problem.
Africa. I want to help Africa. If that person's project is not focusing on Africa, no matter how good what you're trying to work on is, they won't be able to actually take on you.
Okay, and I just want to chip in on that. Let me tell you one secret, guys. I think we're 32 here. One secret that has helped a lot of my mentees.
We've started streaming to Facebook, and I put it on all social media.
Oh, that's good. So, okay, so those on Facebook, we also listen to this secret. Let me tell you one secret. Before you approach any professor with cold email, with you sending your research proposal or research statement, I tell this to all my mentees. You need to go to the university. If it is University of Texas, University of Nebraska, University of California, or University of Toronto, wherever they are, go to the research vice chancellor's office. Go to the webpage. Look for professors that just got funded. They are always there. Their news are always posted on those vice chancellor research. Or look for the departmental newsletter. You're going to find professors that recently have money. They get the grant. Those are the ones you should target. Stop wasting your time. If you send email to me as I am now, I'm going to reject it, but politely I will tell you I'm not accepting anybody because I don't have money. I only have $38,000. So I can only deal with summer students for now. I'm still looking for grant. So that means you've not even done your research. And that's why you're wasting your time sending millions of emails. Target your emails to those professors that are funded in your area. I'm not saying you should not apply to other professors. Don't get me wrong. You can still apply because they might be looking for funding, which you won't know. So if that specialization is your area, you can still go ahead and apply. That is one way to increase your application. Another way is start communicating with the graduate coordinator of the graduate school. You don't need to pay application fee. I won't go deep more, but this is the first thing I said is what I want you to know. So approach people that have funding, then tailor your research to that grant they just got. Yeah. Tailor your proposal to it. That's what Addy is trying to say. I just put it in more perspective for you. That can actually help you, not to slow you down. What some of my guys that got 2 professors, 3 professors, that's what they're doing. That's just the secret. I did it. When I applied to McGill, I did it. University of Manitoba, I did it. I just want to chip that in. So let's go back to what I actually want to discuss with us today. Now, I have developed, and you will agree with me, that if you are a master's student here, you know where you should be playing in. And if you are coming for PhD, you know where your proposal should be targeted. Is at that black region. We don't know it. You are the warrior. You are the savior. You know it, and you are telling us in your proposal why we need to do this research. Masters, you are telling us in your proposal why you've noticed this gap and you want to fill the gap. You want to fill it, you want to close it, or you want to compare it. You want to do interrelation kind of research. You can do that as well in PhD, because always at the boundary, there is temporal shutdown. And that's why we're looking for someone that is creative. In research, you don't have to be, a lot of people talk about critical thinking. It's good. Critical thinking is good. But you need to be creative in your thinking for PhD. If you are not creative, you can't leap the body of knowledge forward. Another one is motivation. You need to be
We lost you, Dr. Charles. Dr. Charles, we lost you.
Can you hear me, guys?
We can hear you again now.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that you need those characteristics for you to come as a PhD. We look for it. We look for creativity. We look for, are you motivated? Then we look for, lastly, how tenacious, how perseverance are you? I didn't mention intelligence because you don't actually have to be intelligent to have a PhD. No. Yeah, they correlated. People that are highly intelligent made a successful PhD student. But we've seen people with third class, they can as well make good PhD students. Oh yeah. So today, I will quickly say the three things I want you to put in your proposal. You don't need to go copy anybody's work. Don't copy anybody's proposal. Follow this format, my friend. Please follow this format and you will get the funding. You will get the scholarship. The professor will look at your application. Just like I said in the email, and some people listened, some people did not. This actually format I'm about to give to you is not entirely mine. So I have to be upfront here. These are based on my experience, my mentors, based on book I've read. Then I came out with this formulation and it has worked for me. I have not lost any scholarship or any grant. If I apply, I'm going to get it. It's just if I did not apply. And I just simply use this. Let's go to it. The first thing, the first paragraph of your research proposal. Now, I believe you agree with me, you're not going to copy from internet. The first paragraph is the challenge. I call it the challenge. One paragraph. Make it one paragraph. In that one paragraph, you can have about 10 sentences or 8, so to say, anyhow you want it. But it has to be the challenge. The second one is the research itself. You can make this like 2 pages, 4 pages, 5 pages, depending on the content of your research. How do you want to argue that research? So this is always in pages. For masters, you can just make these 2 pages. For PhD, you want more content of your background, of people that have worked in this area. Then lastly, this is another one paragraph, conclusion. When I mean paragraph, I mean like 10 sentences or 6 to 10 sentences. So this should be 2 or 4 pages. Let me give room to PhD. These are the 3 contents that you need to put in your proposal. Now, for masters, you know your playground. I've established that. For PhD, you know your playground. In short, as a PhD, you are the warrior. Let's continue. On challenge, the first thing I will talk about is about the wider import. If your proposal is lacking this element, it might not be looked at the second time. Reference, debate, kick statement, and lastly, I talk about urgency and the warrior entry. Under research, introduction, method, planning. Under conclusion, clarity. Clarity has to show. Clarity. I'm going to go into these 3 things, one after the other, and you will become a good. You don't need to even know how to write English to follow this formula, and it will work. Addy, you want to chip in something so I can catch my breath? Sorry, I put you on the spot. Did I put you on the spot? I can't put you on the spot. You are mute though.
Oh.
And I cannot put you on the spot. You are a warrior.
Yeah, so I love how you highlighted this process.
Yeah.
One thing I always say on the research part, you want to think about what you want to put there in terms of under that techniques. Picture speaks more than 1,000 words. If you have any picture of, maybe the method, to describe the method that you want to put, maybe you want a flow chart or anything to kind of show the method, I always say you should have something like that, because usually nobody has patience to read a lot of text. In this time and era, people are looking for that punchline in the beginning, the introduction. And in your research method, they want you to present it such that Okay, I just had.
You need to pause that person.
Yeah, I just did. So they are looking at, a very chronological and logical method that you have put together. It's always good to describe, but if you can use flow chart, if you can use diagrams to show what you're trying to present as a method, absolutely put it there. Pictures are easier for people to read and move on. And I always say, start your research proposal with a good punchline. Be very definite, be very clear as to what you're trying to do. Again, I want to reiterate that you need to understand that person's research before you're giving the punchline. Don't forget that if it's a punchline, that punchline can either make them get excited or let them feel like, all right, this candidate cannot be admitted to my lab because what you're trying to work on is completely different from what they have capability to accommodate. So that's all I have to add. Use pictures under your method. If there is
use schematic,
anything, be pictorial. It helps get the point across faster, easier, and it saves you having to embed the critical part of what you're trying to describe in a place where the person didn't read it. If it's pictorial, they'll see everything you're trying to communicate. It makes your life easier.
Addy, I don't know why you are not coming to be a professor. Let me give you what happened. When I came for my job talk, I attended 3 universities for a job talk. 1, University of Toronto in Toronto. 1, University of Nebraska for job talk. 1, Cornell University in Ithaca, New York. So I had these 3 job talks. In my presentation, when they told me to present my research, I just have only 1 picture. A professor later called me and said that was actually the punch that captivated him and made him vote for me. Because they have to do voting when they want to employ faculty. The only thing I have, they said, can you present your research? I just dropped 1 picture, image, 1. And I talked about that image for 20 minutes. The professors, about 14 or 15 of them, they were all looking. Where did this guy come from? They said, present your teaching statement, 1 picture. Present your extension program, 1 picture. 3 slides. They said they've never seen presentation like this. And where did I learn it? From my mentor. So pictures speak volume faster. So Addy, you are right. It works. In your research proposal, limit the word, put in question. Can you pause Finder?
I just did.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So your research proposal should have a lot of code, equation, diagram, schematic. We can easily understand and pick it, chart. So let me continue. So your first introduction is what we call the challenge. I call it the challenge. In that challenge, you talked about it must have your wider import, your reference, key statement, urgency, and warrior entry. If that first paragraph does not have it, you are wrong. You are making a mistake. Let's go to it. So when we are talking about wider import, you are looking for sensationalism. I will call it sensationalism journaling. You are looking for things currently in vogue. You don't want to start talking about Ford vehicle in the 18th century. That you want to research about that. You are drawing us back. You have to have the mindset of people like this owner of Facebook. You have to be sensational in your approach. Sensational, what I mean, you remember you are the boundary of knowledge. You are a PhD, you are a researcher. For masters, you are not at that boundary, but you also want to be sensational. What is in vogue? If you write any grant and mention artificial intelligence and you're in that field, people will look at you again. If you are in America and you want to develop a research proposal on immigration or the racial discrimination in the US, people will look at you the second time. They will look at that work.
Oh,
provided that.
I can add one thing. Right now, the biggest problem we have facing us is COVID-19.
Oh, good.
You have a bachelor's in biochemistry, biology, health systems, medicine, all of this bio. You have a botany, all of this. I think you should focus your research that you're proposing on solving COVID-19 problems right now. And because it is booming, that is where all the grants are being given. All professors are getting grants to help solve COVID-19 problem. If your work is on immunology, immunotherapy, immuno, so many things, right? All of those biotechnology stuff that is being proposed. You have studied biology in Nigeria. You think your life has ended. This is your chance. You have studied anything related to helping us solve the big question, COVID-19.
Good.
It is
sensationalism.
Yes. It's a good time to talk about how many people has died from COVID-19. And what is the problem that you have seen, or on health system planning. So I want to mention that right now, we saw something during this COVID-19 period. We saw that for many years, we have been preparing for technology. We have advanced so much in the technology. Do you know what? We have not advanced with our health systems. And that is why people are dying so much right now in the US because of COVID. Our health system is still not good. Around the world, our health system is not in a good state. That's why we can't call COVID-19. So we need, if somebody is coming up with research proposal, what is the hot topic in town? And how does that relate to my field? So if you are in, let's say you are in sciences, you can, so you're a curriculum creator, so you're a teacher, you want to propose a teacher and you're looking for master's or PhD abroad, you should be thinking about digital curriculum, restructuring education to meet the digital needs. If those are the points you want to discuss that you want to work on, professors will look at that proposal twice, because we understand that health system-wise, we are not ready. Education-wise, we are not ready. And all of it is because of COVID-19. The question you should ask yourself is, how do I leverage COVID-19 and use that as part of what I want to work on in a way that people can, my research can be looked at twice. So it doesn't matter whether you're not in healthcare or not. If you're in education, are you looking at the disruption that has been brought about by COVID-19 and we're looking at remote education and thinking about what does that mean to education system? Should we create remote education system? Should you be thinking like that? Absolutely. If you are today, you are in communication, you're a mass communication person, you want a master's degree abroad, you should be thinking about content creation in times of COVID, as how you want to leverage COVID to your field of mass communication, how you want to talk about digital communication. So you want to craft your own line and think about how has COVID affected my business? How has COVID affected people in my sector? How has it affected things? And spin it to your own advantage. So when you put your research proposal out, because if your proposal is still very good, but your proposal is not serving the need today, it's not going to help us solve the problem that is hot on the market that everybody has funding for, no matter how good your proposal is, if it's not going to help us solve today's problem that everybody has funding for,
we're not gonna buy it.
Nobody's gonna buy it.
I agree with you totally, Francis. Yeah, so COVID is sensational currently. If you are in health, work on that. Look for topics you can work on, or relate that COVID to your own. If you are an engineer, just do something. Come up with something. I remember when I was writing my research program statement, and I was looking at AI, and I related AI to mathematical modeling, to food system. One of the best AI professor in Cornell University called me. I got a call from him because I am letting him know that look at it. I am at this of knowledge. I am sensational. I knew what is currently going on in the world. So your wider import is topical issue. That's how you remember, my sister, my brother. It has to be a topical. That's why we call it topic. COVID-19, topical issue. Then you can then gradually, you don't want to solve the whole problem of COVID-19. You just want to solve something. Like someone said, Addy said, you can relate it to effect of COVID. Yes, that will be your title. But the topical issue is COVID-19. So in your wider import, you want to talk about COVID-19. In short, Addy you can just write something like 178 people, they died already for this disease. They've been killed. So be topical, be sensational. Yes, you are a researcher, we are scientists, I know. But if you are not, and I was telling someone that if you are a scientist and currently you are not on Twitter or you are not on, you're wrong. And please follow me on Twitter, please. Follow me. I just have 17 people. Let me tell your fans to all follow me on Twitter.
Oh yeah, give me
I have just 17.
Let me tweet you so that people.
Okay, that would be good. Thank you. So what I'm saying in essence is that the topical issue, thank Addy brought that to my knowledge. COVID. Say something about COVID related to engineering. But I'm not saying you should now start looking out. No. All of us cannot start looking at COVID. You can as well be looking at artificial intelligence. You can be looking at data science. You can be looking at different things. But what you are looking for has to be topical.
Yes. COVID
sensation.
is right, bro. There is, the last 5 years, we have just entered into the Industry 4.0 era.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be within the Industry 4.0 era for the next 45 to 50 years. That is very topical today. And that is why companies are investing in technologies such as 3D printing, artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics, cybersecurity. All of these new technologies are going to engulf our world for the next 50 years. It's topical today because we have to invest in those new technologies. So it doesn't have to just be COVID. It could be something. Just ask yourself, what is topical in my field? What is hot today in my field? Where is the focus in my field? And then tailor your research towards that area. And you can still be you can still be in a particular specialty. So you don't have to lie. You don't have to create stories and leave your specialty. It's topical for your entire field. And there is still going to be a connection with what you do. So you just have to think about what is topical for you. I threw COVID out there. I threw Industry 4.0 out there. There are so many different other areas that are topical based on the different fields.
And today, if you type 3D printing, Addy name sometimes comes out. I saw it on Google. That's big for her. She has made grand for herself. You've done very well, sis. So what I'm saying in essence, remember, topical. COVID is the topical. Then look for a statement, a catchy statement to start your proposal. You don't really want to work on everything about COVID. Like Addy said, Addy is just interested, our own interest is just, sorry, I use R. I don't know, R, E, they, whatever. They are interested in only the emergency embrace of technology and how COVID affects education. But you're not going to start with that yet. You don't want to start your proposal by talking about how COVID affects education and teaching and technology. No, but you want to start with COVID, the problem of COVID. That's the first thing. In this case, I gave some example. I used agriculture. I just did this yesterday night. So pardon me. So I gave some example, just go through the example. So the essence of the wider import is to be topical. So you don't want to start, I want to propose. Don't even use I. Avoid statement like that. I'm not saying you can't use it. It's not forbidden. You can still use I. But start with something big. There is a big shortfall between the amount of food we produce today and the amount needed to feed everyone in 2050. I am writing this to a professor in food science. The professor is actually his research area, is food security, and I'm just stating this. He's going to look at that proposal again. Because we knew there is urgency because of population growing very fast. And we want the food system to catch up with population, not only in Africa, also in Canada, in America. So look for that topical thing. Theme, I should say. So if it is COVID-19, that is your theme. That is not your title. Adebukola's title is the effect of COVID-19 on technology and education in whatever. But the topical issue is COVID-19. You look for a catchy, sensational statement about that topical issue. Then the next thing you're going to do is reference debate about COVID-19. What are people saying? I'm talking just 2 references or 3. What are other scientists? What have they done about COVID-19? Are they looking on how COVID-19 affects health of people, of some of us, just at home now? We're not going out. Are they looking at that psychological effect? Create a debate, a reference debate to support that topical issue. Remember, that's not your title. It's the topical issue. That this is what scientists are currently doing about COVID. This is what scientists are currently saying about immigration. This is what they are saying about racial-based discrimination in America. Some people have worked on this, they have worked on this, they have worked on this. So you need that reference database. Debate rather, or just call it argument about that topical issue. 2 or 3. Remember, this is still your first paragraph of your proposal. The 3rd thing you're going to look at, I just put an example here for you. Researchers have addressed the importance of this. Go through that example. I'm going to make this available. But remember, the reference is to support. It's not supporting your own research at the Bukola. It's supporting COVID-19. It's arguing about COVID-19. There are some critics about COVID-19. That's what you're looking at. Not what has been done about the effect of COVID and this. However, then the 3rd one is the kick statement. The kick statement is that, see, you are in that first paragraph, you are still making some statement, but you are not saying that this case is your view. Like, what are you bringing in? Adebukola. However, these scientists have looked at all these things, but they've not looked at how COVID will affect education, technology in Africa, in America, or in the world. You are not coming to your own title. From topical, you are coming to your own title, Adebukola. But you've gotten the attention of the man with your theme, with your topic. Now you come into your title. That nobody, they've looked at the vaccine, they've looked at the immunotherapy, something about COVID virus, they've looked at all these things, but they've not looked at this. They've not looked at this very important thing. That's where you comes in at the Bukola. You come in from there. That they've not looked at this. It's very minute, but they've not looked at it. It's very big. Nobody have looked at it. Then you come out, still the same. I gave some example, look through that. You come out with the urgency. Still the same paragraph, paragraph 1. What is the urgency behind your title? Behind what you wanted to do? You've noticed something. You've noticed a gap. You want to advance the body of knowledge in that aspect. What is the urgency? A lot of researchers find it very difficult. Not only you, the master's applicant or the PhD. If you ask Addy, we always get stuck here. The significance of this. So you want to, in that first paragraph, you want to say something. See, if we don't talk about how COVID affect technology, education, maybe people gonna die. You need to create urgency. We really need to discuss this. Someone needs to come with a solution on how to relate COVID-19 effect on education of kids. As the kids are going to come to imbecile, you need to create an urgency in the professor that, see, if you don't bring me into Canada, there's going to be problem in the world. That urgency must be clear in your first paragraph. You need to bring me in. But remember, I said you don't want to use I. You just want to say, see, my research title is very important now. Look at all these scientists. They've not done it. The urgency has to be clear. Then finally, the same first paragraph. I gave some example for you. You come on, same paragraph. You're going to come with the warrior entrance. You are the savior of the world. I've used it a lot. It works. I got a job in Cornell University. I got up to the last stage in University of Toronto. I got a job in University of Nebraska. I always use this warrior entrance. You are the savior of the world. Still same paragraph. You want to add something, you can look at my example. However, they've not done it. But the project title, the underpin, micronutritional will remedy this gap. You alone can do this. I've used this a lot. When I was interviewed, I told them, I said, in the world, we have a lot of mathematical modeling, missing mathematics and food system. But I make it sound as if we are only 3 in the world. It was actually not a lie. Professor Addy in Cornell, Professor Sabio in Europe, and I'm the next one. I'm telling you the truth if you don't want to believe it. They were looking at me that if you don't bring me into University of Nebraska, you guys at fault. You're going to lose me. So if that professor is not going to bring you in, this warrior entrance statement, we explain that. Use your proposal, use your title. You've created that we urgently need someone to do this. And I am the one, I am that anointed person. But you're not going to use I. You have to be diplomatic in your way of writing. You are writing. My research project title, you don't need to follow this pattern. We remedy this gap through experimentally. So this is your number 1 paragraph. And that paragraph has to have those 5 elements. Complete. Sensationalism, the wider import. It has to have it. Reference debate, the argument people are currently making, what people are currently, they've done rather, or the one they're currently doing. The third one, after your urgency, how urgent it is. Then you're gonna come in, you put your kick statement. Your kick statement is that, see, they're doing this, but however, your kick statement, then bring in the urgency. See, if we don't do this thing, people are going to die. If we don't do this thing, maybe it's not negative thing, maybe positive thing. Let's do this research and we understand how 5G affects respiration. If there is a way, I don't think it affects it because it's not that ionizing. You know, you want to look for urgency, create an urgency. So at Bukola, your urgency might be a statement of if we don't understand how this affects technology, maybe internet is going to crash. Is your hypothesis. Then you come in with the statement of the warrior statement. You are the hero. Your research is the novel research. It's what that professor is waiting for. So that is your number 1 paragraph. Addy, you want to enter there? Sorry.
Yes, I want to say that your research proposal is not your statement of purpose. Please do not mix them up. Your statement of purpose is where you hype yourself, right? You go there and hype yourself as to, what I mean by hyping yourself here is you can talk about your work experience, how it connects to the research you're trying to do. You can talk about your previous research, how it connects to what you're trying to do. Your research proposal is a research proposal. You don't need to start to mention all this information about what you did, which is not relevant. You need to focus it because someone is
on the
trying
research.
to read this as something that you're proposing to do. So let's mix things up here. Someone asked here and said, I've submitted 2 paragraphs, statement of purpose, but it is not topical. You know, so you didn't talk about COVID-19 and now you want to submit a supporting document and you want to include COVID-19 as area of interest. If there is a connection between them, I think you should. If there is no connection, you're going to confuse.
Look for another topical one.
You are going to confuse your committee. So look for topics that are relevant to what you have submitted. There are so many topical situations. You know, we talk about COVID, we talk about Industry 4.0. There is a fact that by 2050, the population of Africa is going to double. And what does that mean? It affects the entire world. So one thing that we know is that if the population of Africa will double, if Nigeria will become the 5th largest country in the world, there is going to be implication of that on the entire world if nothing is done. So what has that taught you? So the population increase, there could be different things that this means to our world. It could be that in terms of affordable housing, we need to start to think about different affordable housing mechanisms. We need to think about how to use 3D printing to build a house. We need to think about modular homes. If you're an architect or you are in building and construction, that could be how you will start your home. You will use population increase that is coming to us as a metric for proposing affordable home. And you will talk about affordable home methods that you want to bring to the table. You need to kind of get to a point where you have to be more than you think in terms of not just consume information about what is relevant to you alone. You need to have a broader view about our world, because this is what help you understand
broader view, yeah, that's the word.
Topics that are relevant today. You know, I just throw another one out as to population increase coming to us. There is the effect of that on our world, and our world is really preparing for it, because we're thinking by 2050, when the population of Africa double, there will be increase in population in some places, but I must tell you that there will be decrease in population in certain places.
That's correct.
Europe is going to have aging population, and they're not going to have a lot of youth. So if you're trying to write a research proposal to someone in Canada, for example, and you understand that their population is aging, and that means something. So you can focus your research on how do you interpret that based on the urgency of that situation in that country. If you want to, let's say you are working on. So one thing I have seen is I have some mentees who are like in healthcare sector. For many, many years, they've worked on, I have 3 of them. They've worked on HIV/AIDS. One of them worked on Ebola and stuff like that. And then they're still fixated on Ebola, HIV/AIDS. You need to move on. HIV/AIDS is not topical today. Some people are still studying it, but we are studying COVID-19. So my question to you is, what is topical varies? You just need to not only think about where you are for topical topics, you need to think about where you are proposing to go. What is topical there? Africa, our own problem is different from Canada problem and Europe problem. Europe, they are not going to have increase in population. Africa is the one who is going to experience increase in population. If you're trying to do a Canadian research, you need to look at what's happening there. We're going to have population issues where we're going to have a lot of older people. That is aging population issue. What does that mean to our healthcare system? What does that mean to our social security? What does that mean to working population having to not have people to work? How do you want to create a topic that solves that problem? So you need to think beyond just where you sit today, where you're trying to find that topical situation. Look at what is topical in the country you are trying to go to, because they're the ones offering you the if you are thinking of topical in your own country is not the ones going to sponsor your master's or your PhD. It doesn't matter how topical it is. If it's not topical for that country, it still doesn't make sense. Last. Please, I want to say desist from holding on to things. I've had to talk to some of my mentees who have continually hold on to what they are working on today. If where you are today is where you want to be, stay there now. Don't disturb me. You want to move to America, you want to move to Canada, yet you are very fixated on what you're working on in Africa. And tell Africa to give you funding, if that's what you want to do. If you're trying to move to another country, you need to use what you have today as a background towards what you are hoping to learn. Not that you are fixated on a particular, I have a couple of them. One is a linguistic. Been learning one Nigerian language. So that Nigerian language, I need to continue to learn it. Is that Nigerian language valid in Canada? No, it's not. You want to learn the Nigerian language, then stay back in Nigeria. Let Nigeria give you funding to expand the linguistic opportunity for that language. If you want to go to a country like US and Canada, you need to look at languages that they are sponsoring and look at how do you transfer the knowledge you have acquired and look at what is topical for that language where you are. Same with the healthcare system. Let's think beyond where we're located. Let's think about where you are going, what is topical there, because what is topical there is pretty much what they will be funding. And that you're trying to tap into their funding, you have to kind of respect that. You have to give a punch that is relevant. I always say this, a PhD is a job. A professor is an employer of labor. If an employer of labor is looking for someone to take, they usually will have job description. The issue here is the job description is not made known because it is you who have gone to the professor. But they have their job description of what you must do for them. You cannot be looking for them to hire you if you cannot fulfill what they want to use you for. You cannot expect a professor to give you funding if your research does not align. It's like looking for a job. So 5,000 people apply to a job at MTN. MTN is looking for a software developer and said, this is what they need. It doesn't matter if you're very smart. If you are not a software developer that meets at least 80% of the criteria that MTN is looking for, MTN can't hire you. In the research world, sometimes when you're applying and talking to these professors, you may not completely know that job description, such as the one you have with MTN. That is why you need a market research to know exactly what they're working on, so that you can tailor your own proposition to match that, such that you are at least 70% match for what they could offer. Please, if you are not 70% match of what they can offer, they will not take you, no matter how good it is. So everything we're talking about today still boils down to, have you done your research to know what is the funding that this person has? What type of research are they working on? What is the situation in that country that I'm trying to go to? What are the topical issues happening in that country? Then leverage all of this and create a proposal and see whether that will not work magic. You're mute, bro. I can't hear you.
This will work. Thank you so much, Addy. And I can see that our audience today, they actually getting it. Mustafa said, going from global to particular. It's just that what it means. Topical to title, theme to niche. That's what it means. You're starting from being sensational to your own need, to how you want to come in. So I think people are getting it. So that your first paragraph is very important. It is very important. And I'm surprised that you guys already getting it. Mustafa got it already. So go there, bro, go write a first paragraph that will captivate even a professor in Harvard. Go out, bro, change that proposal if you've not been topical enough. Be topical. Use debate, arguments, not old argument, papers that are currently talking, published paper that are current, 2020 paper, 2019. Don't go and be citing about Einstein for Christ's sake. It's a common knowledge. We all know about special relativity and general relativity. It's in the textbook. Search those cutting-edge published articles, 2020, 2010, maybe 10 years, don't go deeper. Then create the kick statement, then create the urgency. When you're walking on the street, start thinking, what is this research? Is it actually needful? Is there any urgency that can be attached to that my title? So before you bring the title, you already bring in urgency in. Then you just come in that you are the one. I'm actually the person. But like Addy said, remember, it is the research. It's not statement of purpose. You should, like I said, avoid I if you can. Talk about the research. Don't be self-absorbing or aggrandizing, self-aggrandizing. That's the word. Don't be self-absorbing. As a scientist, we are not known with that. You have to put concentration not to you, but to your research. You are actually bigger. Your research, what you want to do is actually bigger than you. Most time warriors, what they are doing is bigger than them. You know, I was just thinking about Addy Stanford Foundation. It's actually going bigger than Addy.
Yeah.
But she formed it. But the foundation has gone global. So the research you are proposing, if you start talking about I'm just going to know that you are myopic and self-absorbing. It's not big. It should be big enough that you cannot describe. If I don't want to describe Stable as the founder.
Research is collaborative.
Yeah.
Research is not supposed to be high. It's supposed to be hard.
If you can avoid it, please do. Please do. Talk about I in your statement of purpose. So let's move on. So this is your first paragraph. Then come up with those pages of methods. On that method, which is the second thing I'm going to be telling you today, you introduce that your research. Whatever it is you want to study on, whatever questions you are developing. Now you are not doing projects, you are doing a research. There are a lot of differences between research and project. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people, it depends on how you formulate your questions. Like, let me give you a very good example that always comes to mind. Is in Lagos, there's always this traffic jam. How can we solve the traffic jam is not a research question. But you can change it. There's a way you change that question and it becomes a research question. You have to learn it. In short, that doesn't come easy. Developing research question. Maybe if you change this, that why do we have traffic jam in Lagos? Maybe that is sounding like a research question. Oh, it's just a project. How can we solve the problem of electricity in Nigeria? It's just a project. If you give me money today, if Buhari or whoever it is, if they give me money, we're going to solve the problem in Nigeria. We don't need to even go to any research, do any research. But we can still turn that to a research approach. We can start asking ourselves different questions that will be research focused. I'm not going to teach you that. It's a skill, it's a competency that you have to develop over time. So on that introduction, introduce again that title. Now, not topic again. The not topical issue again. The title, your niche. You introduce it again. You talk about literature review that people, because some people have worked in that area that Addy suggested. You'll be surprised. Go to Google Scholar, type effect of COVID on technology teaching. I've forgotten your statement. People are already doing it. So you start looking at those literature, at what are people currently doing in this research? What have they done? Where they are at this research? Are they just forming that specialization? Or are they at the boundary? Then you're looking for where you're going to enter. So in this, the research aspect, you are describing the research in detail, but not describe, so to say. I'm going to retrace that. What I mean is that you are arguing the research, arguments. You are letting the professor know that you know this thing. Remember, you are the hero, you are the warrior. So in the research aspect of your proposal, like I said, can be 2 pages, can be 3 pages. Are they achieving something? Are they said that you should put more picture, more equations, schematic to explain these things? That is where we also have the methods. Use schematic, use equation, use code, use something. Yeah, you can as well write English, write to describe your method. How will you collect your data? How will you analyze your data? Do you have any data collected already, Addy, about COVID-19? How do you want to collect that data that will relate, that will make us see that COVID-19 have a significant effect on technology education or on education? Have you collected any data? Put it in there. Remember, it's an hypothesis. You want to see the effect. You don't know. But this is the little I've done. This is the way I will analyze the data. This is the way I will collect data. Are you going to use equipment? Are you going to survey some people? I don't know. Is it going to be qualitative or quantitative? I do not know. You are the one that formulate the research question. It is entirely yours, Adebukola. You are the one. Based on your skills, like I said, I can't teach you research. How can I teach you research? I did it for 4 years, 5 years. I did it for many years as well. But you will come with your research. How will you do it? So in this aspect of your proposal, you already catch the attention of the professor or whosoever is reading your paper, your proposal. Now you are explaining to the man that, see, I am so profound, I am so rigorous and robust. I know this thing. I can do this thing. In short, I am the only one. Or, let me take that back. Don't use I. Don't say that. But this research is the only one that can solve this problem. That's what this should be talking about. Your methods. Your introduction. Your methods. And lastly, under research, planning. Do you have any plan? I always put this in Excel. I have a table. I'll just explain my plan. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is, I'm going to collect data. After 4 semester, you will analyze data. After this, then I will explain how that data will be collected, the equipment I'm going to use. For you, because you're coming for PhD, for masters, you don't need to talk about money, so to speak. But for most of us professors, we always add money, resources. Okay, we need 2 master students. It's going to cost us this. We need these resources, this chemical. You can put it if you know much about, like you can talk more about dollars, because you might not know the chemical you're getting in Nigeria or in Africa, the price might be different. And we don't want you to be doing guesswork. Mm-hmm. You get it? So you can avoid that aspect of planning. Let your planning only be timeline. How are you going to eat those timelines? We know that you might not eat them. You might not meet those timelines, but it's okay. Let's have a timeline. Let's have a view. So all this, they will come together and make the research. Remember, we started from what? From the challenge. That's the way you will captivate the person. If you use it, my friend, it will work. I've used it in Cornell. I've used it in Nebraska. I've used it in Toronto. It all worked. I was coming from the industry. It all worked just because I understand this. I did not form this. It's based on my experience, what I learned from books. So I need to say that to you. This has been proven to work. So do it. Experience, mentor advices, book, that's how I developed this. It's not entirely mine. So that is about research. The last thing we're going to talk about is the conclusion. But before that, I will let Addy chip in a little bit here.
We can keep going because we have 10 more minutes. So
we have 10 more minutes. Okay.
I want you to finish it. So.
Yeah, I have meeting by 2 as well too. So that is about your research. Then lastly, conclusion. Conclusion is about clarity. It's about you measuring, going back to why this research proposal is urgently needful. That we urgently need someone or a research to address this. This, like I said, just 1 paragraph. Use 1 paragraph to explain this. But when you're explaining this, you are going back to that statement of urgency that you made in the challenge area. You are going back there. That if we don't do this, children, they're going to die. Women, they will die. Maybe not only negative thing. Maybe we need to do this to save the world, to understand environment, or to stop environmental degradation that is happening. Or we need this to stop COVID or something. So it can be positive as well. Not only is good, people going to know or something. In short, if it's positive, good. If you're making it in such a way that is to prevent disaster, negative things, good. So, but under your conclusion, I have to see that you are clear about this research, as well how important, how significant this study is going to be. And this comes together. The three things, the challenge. That's the first thing I promised to tell you. You see, I kept my promise. The second thing, the research. I told you about it. What you need to do about research. But I cannot give you that skill. Unless maybe you come to my group, then I can give it to you. But it's going to take years. That's what you want to do in PhD, in masters, to learn research. Nobody can. Don't mind people that I was watching YouTube yesterday. I saw some people talking about do this in writing. I was thinking I should gain some knowledge there. And they were like telling people how to, some people even promise they're going to write it for you. Nobody can write these things for you. Research is a component you have to learn, but you need to write it as well. If you are coming for masters, you are the edge of knowledge.
Yeah, I wonder if anyone writes your research proposal for you or your statement of purpose, you have robbed yourself of a good chance in your graduate program, because they're not going to follow you there to do your PhD. Or you. They can put anything down there, and then you show up there and you are struggling big time. So my suggestion is always, you need to do this yourself. You know, you're the one who said, I want to embark on this journey. How bad do you want it? It is you who said, I want to do this. I want to embark on this journey. And one thing I always say to everyone is, we are given equal opportunity. We all have 24 hours in a day. And how you determine how far you go. And yes, it is good to get guidance. I have a mentorship program where I guide people on what they have put down, and whether this is a killer one or this is not just making sense. That is good to do. Find you a mentor who can help you, guide you through the process. But you shouldn't be looking for someone who is going to write this kind of research for you, because this is going to really set the trajectory for your career. So usually what you do in your PhD, people can build on that to form a career. If somebody writes that for you, that person has taken charge of your entire career. So
that's correct.
Your idea, what you have thought through, what you think, if I bring this, like when I was trying to think about what to do my research on, a lot of things that I thought about that made me go into 3D printing was, in 10 years from now, where would the world be going? The country that I have chosen that I want to live in, what would this country need? I had chosen Canada to live in, and at that point I realized Canada is a consumer country, and we consume, we don't manufacture a lot. And at that point, when I was about starting my PhD, there was a lot on we want to invest more into manufacturing. Canada has a lot of crude oil, like Nigeria, and a lot of the things we use, they were imported from the US and the UK. So there was talk on, we want to improve manufacturing. So I thought about, if I plant myself in manufacturing in this country, it's going to help me, because I'm going to plant myself in a place where the country is constantly investing in. So you have to do this research. You may live in a different country, use the internet to your advantage. All the information related to what that country is focusing on for your research area is available online. If you could have data to join this talk with myself and Dr. Charles, I believe you have data to look for that information online, to do that research. Yes, you could get stuck. Yes, you don't want to submit it without somebody vetting it for you to make sure that it's solid. Yes, you get direction, but solely, ultimately, it should be yours. It should be you who eventually say, this is what I want to work on. It's good to get clarity. Clarity is very, very critical when you're trying to write this type of thing. You need to make up your mind where exactly you want to channel it to. But I would say, don't let anybody do it for you. We had our ups and downs today. We had issues with what is it called, Instagram. But I'm very happy that we're able to use Zoom to get together and still talk about this today. We will be uploading this definitely to our YouTube, to the YouTube channel. So if anyone missed it, they want to go back and watch it, please feel free. I put in here, I put my mailing list. If you're interested in receiving the slides that Dr. Charles had provided to me with his permission, I'm happy to provide you that slide. Please click the link to that mailing list, complete the mailing list. If you're not on my mailing list, then I will send out the YouTube link and then this slide as soon as maybe tomorrow or next tomorrow once they put it on YouTube. So always, you know, one thing that I want everyone to know here is Dr. Charles was my childhood brother. We grew up in the same neighborhood. We were not from wealthy home. You may wonder, why is he so passionate? Why does he want to give back? It's because of where we came from. We came from nothing. We came from a place where, you know, there was hopelessness, but we made something out of it. I don't know where you are right now. I don't know what you are going through where you are. I don't know whether you are actually at a point where you are thinking of quitting, but I want to tell you that we came from the slum and we're here. The same slum. I grew up knowing Charles. I've known Charles since I was like 5 years old or 3 years old, since I became a human being who can recognize someone. So if you have read my story, you've heard about me. Imagine Dr. Charles is like me. And that is why we are passionate about giving back. We're passionate about helping you because we know that there is nothing stopping you. That the only thing and the only person that can stop you is you. You are the only one who can stop yourself. It is our hope that you take all this free information that you have gotten today, we have given previously, I've continued to share on social media, that you will utilize that information to become a better person, somebody that we can be proud of. You need to know that we want to help you. If you write your proposal, you need help, reach out. I'll be, even if I'm not going to do it for you for free, maybe because I don't have time, I'll send you to where somebody can do it for you, maybe from STEM Hub. Through STEM Hub, Dr. Charles has recently become our director of STEM Scholars, also continuing to help people with scholarship opportunities. We want to help you. I believe in the Black economic power. I believe that the future of Africa depends on our youth. I believe that it rests on the shoulder of you and I. And I believe some of us have to go outside the country and collect those innovative education so that we can help build the potential of Nigeria, not only from Nigeria, but from outside Nigeria, and bring it to continue to build. And if I was not empowered outside of Nigeria, I won't be here empowering you. I want you to know that the plan is not to let everybody leave Nigeria, but the plan is wherever you go, you will continue to empower, to support, to ensure that every Nigerian youth who has an opportunity or deserve an opportunity to do better, have it. We're so thankful that you spent time with us today. Dr. Charles, I've owed you things since I was a kid. You were my first math teacher. You're the first teacher I knew, and you have continued to give. My prayer for you is that everything you desire, the Lord will give you.
Amen.
I'm proud of all your achievements, the same way you're proud of me. And I'm to you that you are sharing your knowledge with the world. I hope at some point, maybe we'll bring you back. We want testimonies, guys. We know that you will do great.
I am rooting for everybody.
Yes, when you do great, come tell us. Write back to me. I'll send it to Professor Charles. Write to him. Let us know. We know that there are topics that you still want us to cover. I have made this request before. Send me an email. Send me a DM. If there are other topics that you think, I'd like you guys to cover this, I need help on this, please touch on this topic. I'm here to help you hold your hand to make sure that there are more Nigerians academic, that more successful Nigerian success story that we will point out and show to young people and say to them, this is what is possible with your Nigerian degree, with your Nigerian education. It's 2:30. Again, Dr. Charles, we owe you so much. Thank you so much for today. Thank you all for joining. Do you have any last word for us, Doc?
I'm just going to say, do all this we've said today, my friend, and you will find out that it will work. My professor, my advisor always tell me this. He will say, Charles, do this, my friend. He's a Chinese man. It works. Do it, it works. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you all. Enjoy the rest of your evening or afternoon, wherever you are. Bro, thank you so much.
Yeah, because help me tell your fans they should join me. Follow me on Twitter.
Please send me your ID.
On Twitter.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm a Twitter clown. I have over 20,000
yeah,
followers.
yeah.
Your ID. Let me tweet your ID to my followers. People,
Thank you.
we want to know how you feel about today. Please let me know. I'll tweet Professor Charles's handle. Please follow him. Help us retweet them so that we can get this knowledge out to other people out there within our community who it can be a blessing to. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day. Bye.